So hi everyone, welcome back. So today what we are going to do, अगर आपने previous video देखी होगी तो previous video में we only discuss the basic concepts of macroeconomics. We discuss कि flow क्या होता है, we discuss stock क्या होता है, leakage, injections. Now today we are bringing you the second video where we are going to discuss few more topics related to national income and its aggregates. But अभी हम numericals पे नहीं जाएंगे because अभी क्या है, अभी थोड़ा सा theory और basics बचा है. So what we are going to discuss today, we are going to discuss the types of goods that we have before proceeding to the aggregates of national income. So let's start. Today what we are going to discuss, first concept happens to be your domestic territory. Now what is domestic territory? Domestic territory happens to be something where Indian government can collect taxes. Something that happens to be within the Indian boundary. क्योंकि इसके बाहर जाके so it's not going to be domestic, we all know. So any kind of factors of production, जहाँ factors of production move हो रहे हैं within a certain geographical boundary, that means within India itself, that is called as your domestic territory. So domestic territory happens to be geographical territory which is administered by government, within which the person, goods and capital circulate freely. जहाँ पे Indian government can collect taxes, they can make their own rules and regulations for the same. Now अब इसमें क्या क्या आता है? Very first thing happens to be your ships and aircrafts. Let's suppose एक plane है, ठीक है? One plane or aeroplane is going from Delhi to London. मैम लंदन तो मतलब इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर आ गया, बट इट इज ओन्ड बाय एयर इंडिया. ठीक है, सो अ वेरी बेसिक एग्जांपल, एक एयर इंडिया का प्लेन है विच इज बाउंड फ्रॉम दिल्ली टू लंदन. अब एक एयर इंडिया का प्लेन दैट इज फ्लाइंग फ्रॉम दिल्ली टू लंदन इज क्रॉसिंग अ यूरोपियन बॉर्डर्स. So मेरा question ये है to you people, do you think it is going to come under a domestic territory of India? Answer है yes. So to be called something as a domestic territory, it has to be operated by a normal resident. So this is the condition that you people should know, that what happens to be a domestic territory. ये तो हमें पता है something that happens to be within Indian boundaries is called as a domestic territory. But उसको domestic territory तभी बोलेंगे when it is operated on normal resident or operated by a normal resident. So normal resident हमारा इस example में क्या है? Air India. एयर इंडिया इज गोइंग फ्रॉम दिल्ली टू लंदन, उसके बीच में पड़ता है यूरोपियन बॉर्डर्स, तो वो आएगा इंडिया की टेरिटरी में ही. सेकेंड, सम फिशिंग और ऑयल रैग्स, सो ऑपरेटेड बाय द रेजिडेंट्स इन इंटरनेशनल वाटर. लेट्स से अटलांटिक ओशन में हमारी कोई शिप है. सो अटलांटिक ओशन इज व्हाट? इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर्स. बट शिप किसकी है? इट इज ऑपरेटेड बाय इंडिया और सम इंडियन कंपनी. सो यस, अगेन इट इज गोइंग टू फॉल अंडर योर डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी. थर्ड आता है एम्बेसीज अब्रॉड. अब मैम व्हाट इज एम्बेसी? ये तो सबको पता है एम्बेसीज क्या होती है. नाउ लेट्स टेक एन एग्जांपल. हियर इन इंडिया वी हैव यूएस एम्बेसी इन द नॉर्थ, देन यू हैव चाइनाज एम्बेसी इन द साउथ. And here in United States, here you have an Indian embassy. So this is USA, this is India. ठीक है, अब इंडिया में यहाँ पर we have USA, यहाँ पे we have Chinese embassy, and here I'm going to take an example. यहाँ पे है USA की embassy, USA and Indian embassy in United States. So ये जो area है, this area, it is going to be a territory of USA rather than India. क्यों? क्योंकि यहाँ पे what do we have? We have a US embassy और ये वाला area will be under China. Same happens with USA. This area where we have the Indian embassy in the United States will fall under the Indian territory. So they says consulates and military establishments of the country located abroad can also be considered as a domestic territory. अब ये तो हमने देख लिया कि what all is included, but there are certain things which is not included as well. ये है foreign embassy जो मैंने अभी आपको just example बताया. Japanese embassy in India is a part of Japan's domestic territory. क्योंकि अगर हम यहाँ पे ये बोल रहे हैं कि any embassy which is there, Indian embassy in United States is a part of Indian territory, तो हम ये भी बोल सकते हैं कि अगर कोई जापान की embassy situated in here in India, it will be under the territory of Japan. Next is WNO, WHO and located within the geographical boundaries. All these happens to be your international international boundaries. So this is UNO, WHO, this is located within a geographical boundary. So let's take an example. अभी मैंने क्या बताया? A ship owned by a shipping corporation of India is carrying goods from Mumbai to New York. So Mumbai happens to be one, or let's say India, and New York happens to be country 2. तो मैम ये domestic territory में कैसे आएगा? ये इसलिए आएगा because when it is sailing from Atlantic Ocean, that ship is still a part of India's domestic territory. क्यों? क्योंकि it belongs to certain Indian company. So as I told you, to be called something belonging to a domestic territory, again telling you, it happens to be operated by a normal resident. Okay. Second, an Air India flight, जो हमने example किया, Delhi to London, even when the plane is flying over Europe's airspace, that aircraft is still a part of India's domestic territory. अब यहाँ पे लेते हैं कुछ और example, which is Indian Embassy in USA. Very quickly, बिना देखे मुझे ये बताओ कि तुम्हें ये कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आया. अगर कोई इंडियन एम्बेसी यूएस में है तो वो किसका पार्ट होगी? सर्टेनली इंडियन एम्बेसी है पर यूएस में है, बट है तो इंडियन एम्बेसी, सो इट इज गोइंग टू बी अ पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. यूएस एम्बेसी इन इंडिया, सो एम्बेसी किसकी है? यूएस की. सिचुएटेड कहाँ है? इंडिया में, बट है तो यूएस की एम्बेसी, तो किसका पार्ट होगी? यूएस से. इंडियन शिप इन पैसिफिक ओशन है इंटरनेशनल वाटर्स, बट है क्या? इंडियन शिप, सो अगेन अ पार्ट ऑफ इंडिया. फॉरेन वर्कर्स वर्किंग इन इंडिया, सो वर्कर हैपेंस टू बी ऑफ फॉरेन बट बिलोंगिंग टू इंडिया. So to be called something belonging to any factors of production, domestic territory तब ही कहलाएंगे once it is operated by a normal residence. Next happens to be the concept of normal residence. मैम आपने अभी तो बताया कि domestic territory happens to be something like factors of production which belongs to a normal resident. But who is a normal resident? So normal resident happens to be an individual or institutions who orderly resides in the country and whose center of economic interest also lies in that country. मैम इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? A normal resident happens to be a person which is residing in any country for more than 1 year. And what is the center or economic interest? Like all the expenditures, जो भी उसकी salary है, expenditures हैं, that happens to be, let's say, here in India. So location, resident lives or located within a domestic territory, as मैंने बता दिया, for more than a period of 1 year, और activity मतलब जो भी उसके सैलरी है, इनकम है, एक्सपेंडिचर्स हैं, दैट हैपेंस टू बी फ्रॉम द सेम लोकेशन. और हमारे एग्जाम्पल में द लोकेशन हैपेंस टू बी इंडिया. सो नॉर्मल रेजिडेंसी इज एन इकोनॉमिक कॉन्सेप्ट while citizenship happens to be a legal concept. So let's say I happens to be a person, an individual who was born in India. So I am not going to be called as a normal resident. In that case, I will be the citizen of the country. Why? Because I was born in that country. My friend was born in United States of America. So वो citizen होगा US का rather than a Indian. Next happens to be not included. So what are the things which is not included under your normal residence? First is foreign tourists and visitors. So if I see about any terms and conditions of the country, पहले तो ये चीज कि कोई भी country आपको more than 4 to 6 months अपनी country में रहने नहीं देगी. The maximum period you can reside in any of the country happens to be 5.5 months. उसके बाद you are supposed to leave the country. There are certain countries which only gives you the visa for a period of 2 to 3 months, except for Canada and US, which gives you a visa of 10 years. But also with the condition that you are supposed to leave country after 5.5 years. क्योंकि अगर आप 6 months से ज़्यादा करोगे, so they are going to deport you. So recreation, holidays, any kind of tourist जो घूमने के लिए आए हैं, कुछ medical treatments के लिए आए हैं, study के लिए आए हैं, sports conferences. Then you have foreign diplomats and military. Somebody who is, embassy को represent कर रहा है, some consulate, some military person, but of a foreign country. So वो भी एक Indian resident नहीं माना जाएगा. Then you have international organizations, that is UNO and WHO. Again, international institutions not a part. Employees of international organizations, residents of countries होंगे, but they should be working here in India for more than 1 year to be called themselves as to be a normal resident. अगर वो 6 months में, for an example, they leave the country, so that in that example they will not be called as a normal resident. Next you have crew, seasonal travels. Again 1 year से ज़्यादा होना चाहिए, and border workers, residents of the country where they live, not where they work. Next happens to be what is factor income versus transfer income. अब factor income क्या है और what is transfer income? So I hope before me proceeding further आपको basic concepts of normal residence और आपको domestic territory समझ में आ गया होगा. Next we are going to go to the next topic, that is your factor income, and then you have your transfer income. अब factor income क्या है? Some income that you earn. अब आप वो कैसे earn करोगे? You are going to earn that income for the factors of production. Abhi in the previous video I told you that what are the factors of production. Factors of production happens to be something which households provide to the investors in return for something. और वो return क्या है? वो return है अगर मैं किसी को land दे रही हूँ, I am going to get a rent. If I am working for somebody, labor, I am getting a wage or a salary. I happens to be an investor for somebody, I am going to get a capital or I am going to get an interest for the same. Or if I am a businessman or an entrepreneur, I will get a profit. So all these things together combine your factors of production. So something जो आप कमा रहे हो, something that you are earning in the form of factors of production, that is land, labor, capital, enterprise, is called as your factor income. Example, Ramesh earns 30,000 rupees as a factory worker. That means he is contributing something in the factors of production और उसका result है कि उसको wages मिल रहे हैं. But ma'am, आपने यहाँ पे तो लिखा है कि scholarship. अब आप ये बोल रहे हो कि स्कॉलरशिप में मैंने कुछ नहीं किया. नो, स्कॉलरशिप इज नॉट इंक्लूडेड इन योर फैक्टर इनकम क्योंकि उसमें आपने कुछ फैक्टर्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन में कंट्रीब्यूट नहीं किया. सो इनकम रिसीव्ड विदाउट रेंडिंग एनी प्रोडक्शन सर्विस इन रिटर्न is said to be your transfer income. So income received without any productive service in return, it is only one way. Example, pension which you get post retirement, scholarships, subsidies, gifts and donations. इसमें you are not contributing anything to the factors of production. So साफ साफ सी बात है मैम, फैक्टर इनकम वो है जो हम अर्न कर रहे हैं यूजिंग फैक्टर्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, और एक साइड से ट्रांसफर इनकम वो है जो एक साइड फ्लो करती है which is not included in the productive services. So example, government gives 5,000 per month to a poor family under welfare or a transfer income. So ये उसने कमाई नहीं है. This is what the government is giving them as a form of something back or an obligation. नेक्स्ट वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न अबाउट दैट व्हाट आर द डिफरेंस बिटवीन, ये आपको 3 मार्क का क्वेश्चन डेफिनेटली आ सकता है, दैट यू आर सपोज टू राइट द डिफरेंस बिटवीन अ फैक्टर इनकम एंड ट्रांसफर इनकम. सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट फैक्टर इनकम, इट रेफर्स टू द इनकम received by factors of production for rendering service. ये अभी हमने definition just now we did कि what is factor income, जो factors of production से मुझे मिल रही है in return, and transfer income happens to be income received without rendering any service. Nature, it is included in both national income and domestic income. ये domestic income में भी आएगी and national income में भी आएगी. It is neither included in the national income nor in the domestic income. Concept, it is an earning concept, as मैंने बताया कि factors of production का return when you are getting, it is something that you are earning on your own, and it's a receipt concept क्योंकि one way flow होता है. Next, it is received by the factors of production, it is received by the households and the government. Example, rent, wages, interest, and here we are going to talk about age pension, unemployment allowance and scholarship. अब बात करते हैं ऑन अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक, दैट इज क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ गुड्स. अब सबसे पहली बात, मैम व्हाट इज गुड्स? हम गुड्स को कैसे डिफाइन करते हैं? वी आर गोइंग टू डिफाइन गुड्स कि उसको यूज कौन कर रहा है. सो गुड्स आर ऑलवेज डिफाइंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ यूसेज, that who is actually using that good. अगर मैं कर रही हूँ तो मेरा POV गुड्स को एक्सप्लेन करने का कुछ और होगा. As a manufacturer, for an instance, somebody happens to be a customer and he or she is purchasing the goods, so that person is going to define a good in a different way क्योंकि वो अपने final consumption के लिए ले रहा है, where I am using it for maybe for a resale purpose or for a stock purpose. Now when we talk about goods, goods can be classified into two. Very first happens to be your intermediate goods and second happens to be your final goods. सबसे पहले हम बात करेंगे intermediate goods की. Intermediate goods are those goods which do not have a lifespan of more than 1 year. So मैम हम क्यों यूज करते हैं intermediate goods? Intermediate goods are generally used for a resale purpose. And second benefit of your intermediate goods is further production, but that production happens to be within 1 year. So intermediate goods are those goods which do not have a lifespan. Max to max लेके चलते हैं, maximum lifespan इनका होता है 1 year. And intermediate goods can be used for two purposes. One is your resale and second for further production, but वो further production भी होनी चाहिए within 1 year. But when we talk about final goods happens to be those goods which you are either using for consumption or you are using it as a capital or investment. So when I see this point, from this only you will be able to analyze कि अगर हम goods को characterize कर रहे हैं, so goods can be characterized as per intermediate goods or it can be characterized as a final good. If it's an intermediate goods, it can be further classified for the purpose of resale and further production within 1 year. And if I talk about final goods, it is either used for consumption, that is personal consumption हो सकती है, or either it is used as a capital or an investment goods. Next we are going to talk about final goods. So final goods मैंने बताया capital goods, which is further classified. So consumption goods की पहले बात करते हैं. Consumption goods and capital goods. So when I talk about consumption goods, it is further classified into 4 categories: durable goods, semi-durable goods, non-durable goods and services. So durable goods होती है जिनकी लाइफ स्पैन थोड़ी सी होती है. We can use them again and again. सेमी ड्यूरेबल होते हैं कि वी आर गोइंग टू जस्ट यूज देम फॉर 4 और 5 months और उसके बाद डिस्कार्ड कर देंगे. नॉन ड्यूरेबल होता है दैट यू नीड टू कंज्यूम विद इन फ्यू यूजेस. ब्रेड, मिल्क, यू कैन नॉट कीप मोर देन 2 to 3 days. Here we can use them for a month of let's say 2 to 4 months, and here we can use them for let's say 5 years or 1 year or so. And then you have the fourth option, that is services. मैं डॉक्टर के पास गई, डॉक्टर ने मुझे मेडिसिन प्रिस्क्राइब करी and they charged a fee for their service. So again a service is a part of your consumption goods. क्योंकि मैं अपने लिए गई थी डॉक्टर के पास क्योंकि I was not feeling well. So when I talk about classification of final goods happens to be two. First happens to be your consumption goods, second happens to be your capital goods. Consumption goods are further classified as durable goods, semi-durable goods, non-durable goods and services. And capital goods is something that is kept as a stock or some manufacturer is using it as an investment. So capital goods can also be referred to as an investment. Next thing, we are going to talk about consumption goods. Just the definition. Durable goods can be used again and again over a considerable period of time. Very quickly, if you want to note down the example and a definition, क्योंकि ये आपको CUET में can be asked in the form of match the column. So very quickly, durable goods can be used again and again. Example, TV, refrigerator, washing machine. Semi-durable goods can be used for a limited life period, let's say less than 1 year, that is clothes, crockery, shoes. 1 साल पहनेंगे, 1 साल के बाद discard कर देंगे. I'm not going to wear the shoes for more than 1 year. Then non-durable goods, they have to be consumed within few uses. Milk, bread, etc. And services, something that is intangible, something that you can only feel, you cannot see, so directly satisfy human wants, cannot be seen or touched, like teachers, doctors and banks. So I hope आपने अभी तक screenshot इसका ले लिया होगा. Next we are going to talk about what is a production boundary. A production boundary क्या है? Production boundary happens to be something or a boundary that separates your intermediary goods versus final goods. So ये एक boundary set कर देती है कि कहाँ पे goods are used as an intermediate goods और कहाँ पे goods are used as a final good. So एक example हमने लिया. Example क्या लिया? Cotton. So cotton है. So cotton is a raw material. I cannot use cotton as a final product or a finished product. So cotton को हमने क्या किया? It's an intermediate good. और एक thread है. So thread is again a raw material. So both of them happens to be what? My intermediate goods. अब मैं उनका कैसे use करूँगी? A cloth maker is going to like put the cotton cloth with the help of thread all together और उसका एक final product मिल गया मुझे which is a cloth. So this becomes my final product, and then the final product reach to the ultimate consumer. So cotton, thread, intermediate goods. क्यों? क्योंकि ये एक raw material है, and then the final goods that we get for consumption or maybe a stock or an investment. So the cloth that we used by 2 of the raw materials, that becomes my final goods. So a line around the productive sector, that is intermediate goods, crossed out and gives us the final goods. Next happens to be what's the difference between, again you can get this as a 3-marker question. Like what is the difference between a final good and an intermediate good? So the very first happens to be the definition. Final goods refers to those goods which are used either for consumption or for investment, whereas intermediate goods are those goods which are either used for a resale or further production in the same year. They are included in the national income and domestic. They are neither included in the national nor in the domestic. अब इसमें value addition क्या है? They are ready for use by the final users, so no value has to be added in the final goods. क्यों? क्योंकि already final goods हैं. Cotton thread raw material थे, उसका मैंने final good बना दिया, that is cloth. Next happens to be they are not ready for use. क्यों? क्योंकि we are using the raw material. So some value has to be added to the intermediate goods. Next is they have crossed the production boundary. उसके बाद ही we got the final goods as the name suggests, and they are still within the production boundary only. फिर इसका reason क्या है? क्योंकि we are using the raw materials. Then milk is purchased by the household for consumptions and cars are purchased as an investment. जैसे मैंने बताया that final goods are categorized into two. Either you are using them for the consumption, or either you are using them as a final, or let's say the investment product or a capital product. Then as milk is used in the dairy shops for resale and coal is used for further production. So this is used as a raw material or something for the final consumption too. Next is we are going to see that how are we going to classify goods, क्योंकि ये आपको MCQ में both in the CBSE और in the form of CUET ये तो पूछा ही जाएगा that they are going to give you a certain amount of example or question is going to be you're supposed to classify them as a consumption good, as a final good or something. So let's take an example है car. एक कार है which is purchased by a household. So एक कार को खरीदा किसी household ने. सो अगर कोई मैं हूँ, आई एम अ कस्टमर, आई एम अ हाउस होल्ड, अगर मैं कोई कार खरीद रही हूँ, जनरली आई एम गोइंग टू परचेज दैट कार फॉर अ रीजन कि मुझे अपनी पर्सनल कंजम्पशन के लिए चाहिए, मुझे ऑफिस जाने के लिए चाहिए, मुझे घूमने के लिए चाहिए. सो आई एम गोइंग टू यूज दैट प्रोडक्ट फॉर माई कंजम्पशन, फॉर माई own use. So this will fall under the category of consumption good. अब एक टैक्सी ड्राइवर लेता है. अब टैक्सी ड्राइवर क्यों लेगा? Because he is supposed to earn the livelihood. He is supposed to drive that taxi for the customers. So उसके लिए वो क्या है? एक investment है. That he has made a certain amount of investment in getting that taxi to earn the livelihood. So उसके लिए वो क्या है? It is going to be a capital good for that taxi driver. And third, a car dealer लेता है resale purpose के लिए. So when a person who happens to be a car dealer is purchasing any kind of car, but उसका purpose clear है कि उसको आगे resale करना है. So this becomes an intermediate good, क्योंकि intermediate good किसके लिए होता है? Resale या further production के लिए. So a car dealer is purchasing it for the purpose of resale, so it's a consumption or it's an intermediate good. अगर टैक्सी ड्राइवर ले रहा है सो इट्स अ कैपिटल गुड और एन इन्वेस्टमेंट दैट ही इज मेकिंग. और अगर एक हाउस होल्ड अपनी पर्सनल यूज के लिए ले रहा है इट बिकम्स अ कंजम्पशन गुड. सेकेंड, शुगर. एक और एग्जाम्पल लेते हैं. शुगर है, अब फिर से हाउस होल्ड अपनी पर्सनल कंजम्पशन, सो वी ब्रिंग ग्रोसरीज एवरी मंथ, उसमें वी नो वी आर सपोज टू परचेज 1 kg शुगर, 2 kg और मोर देन दैट. सो अगर हम शुगर परचेज कर रहे हैं फॉर आवर ओन पर्सनल यूज देन इट वुड बी कॉल्ड एज योर कंजम्पशन गुड्स. क्यों? क्योंकि हम उसको कर रहे हैं अपने पर्सनल यूज के लिए यूज. देन लाइंग अनसोल्ड विद द ट्रेडर. मैंने इतनी ज़्यादा शुगर अपने स्टॉक में भर ली कि कस्टमर्स आर नाउ बिकमिंग हेल्थ कॉन्शियस, तो शुगर की डिमांड है थोड़ी कम हो गई, पीपल आर गोइंग टू स्टेविया, शुगर फ्री एक्सेट्रा, तो शुगर बिकी नहीं और मेरे पास बहुत सारा अनसोल्ड स्टॉक रखा है. सो अनसोल्ड स्टॉक इज ऑल्सो अ काइंड ऑफ योर कैपिटल गुड. ये आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट है. And then when a sweet shop maker is using the sugar to make sweets, it becomes an intermediate good. क्योंकि वो शुगर क्यों यूज कर रहा है? For a purpose of resale or using it as for the production of sweets. So I hope ये दो एग्जाम्पल से आपको क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ गुड्स तो समझ में आ ही गया होगा. अगेन टेलिंग यू गाइज, अगर कोई हाउस होल्ड अपने पर्सनल कंजम्पशन के लिए कोई भी चीज यूज करता है will fall under the category of consumption good. अगर कोई बंदा, कोई भी individual customer is making a certain amount of investment, उस बंदे के POV से you are supposed to think. अगर मैं एक टैक्सी ड्राइवर हूँ, मैंने टैक्सी अपने पर्सनल यूज के लिए नहीं ली, I have purchased a taxi as an investment कि I am going to drive it and it's going to help me to earn my livelihood. तो ये आपका हो जाएगा capital good. And then if a car dealer is using something or a car for a purpose of resale, तो वो आपका हो जाएगा intermediate goods. Again with the sugar, अगर मैं household हूँ, अपनी personal consumption के लिए लिया है, so it's a consumption goods. Lying unsold, still my investment, so that is again a capital good. एंड इफ इट्स अ स्वीट शॉप सो मैं उसको फर्दर प्रोडक्शन के लिए यूज करूंगी फॉर मेकिंग स्वीट्स, सो इट बिकम्स माय इंटरमीडिएट गुड्स। अब एक क्विकली क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करते हैं और लास्ट के 2 क्वेश्चंस होंगे आपके लिए टू टेस्ट दैट कितना समझ में आया, एंड आई वांट द आंसर्स टू बी देयर इन द कमेंट सेक्शन। फर्स्ट, a car is purchased by a taxi driver for his taxi service। अभी एग्जाम्पल मैंने बताया, टैक्सी ड्राइवर है, अपनी टैक्सी ली है, किसके लिए ली है? क्योंकि उसको टैक्सी सर्विस चलानी है। सो कौन सी क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ गुड्स में आएगा? कैपिटल गुड्स। क्यों? क्योंकि ही हैज परचेज्ड इट फॉर द investment, so investment falls under your capital goods. Next, if the same car dealer purchased by the dealer to resell to the customer। अब मैं हूँ कार ट्रेडर, मेरा रोज का काम है गाड़ियाँ खरीदना बेचना। सो व्हाट एम आई डूइंग है? आई एम परचेजिंग अ कार फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ रीसेलिंग इट फर्दर, तो वो मेरे लिए बन जाएगा इंटरमीडिएट गुड्स, क्योंकि हमें पता है इंटरमीडिएट गुड्स होते हैं 2 चीज़ों के लिए। फर्स्ट इज फॉर द रीसेल पर्पस और सेकेंड है व्हेन आर यू सपोज टू यूज इट फॉर द फर्दर प्रोडक्शन। थर्ड वन, sugar purchased by a sweet shop to make sweets is an example of again intermediate, क्योंकि एक स्वीट शॉप है जो शुगर परचेज कर रही है फॉर फर्दर प्रोडक्शन, सो हो जाएगा हमारा इंटरमीडिएट गुड्स की कैटेगरी में। नेक्स्ट इज sugar lying unsold with the trader at the end of the year is treated as। अब शुगर भर के ले ली, बिकी नहीं, स्टॉक ऐसे का ऐसे ही पड़ा है, सो कौन सी क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ गुड्स में आएगा? मैम ये तो कैपिटल गुड्स हैं। कैपिटल गुड्स क्यों हैं? क्योंकि अनफिनिश्ड स्टॉक और इन्वेंट्री पड़ी है, इन्वेस्टमेंट है, तो कैपिटल गुड्स हो गए हमारे। नेक्स्ट, अ रेफ्रिजरेटर परचेज्ड बाय द हाउसहोल्ड फॉर स्टोरिंग फूड। वेरी सिंपल, मैं कस्टमर हूँ, पीओवी देखा करो, मैं हूँ कस्टमर, मैंने लिया एक नया फ्रिज, किसके लिए? क्योंकि मुझे स्टोरेज स्पेस चाहिए थी। समथिंग दैट आई एम परचेजिंग फॉर माई ओन पर्सनल कंजम्पशन, सो हो जाएगा ड्यूरेबल कंजम्पशन गुड्स। नेक्स्ट इज द सेम रेफ्रिजरेटर परचेज्ड बाय द रेस्टोरेंट टू स्टोर फूड आइटम्स फॉर कुकिंग, तो ये हो जाएगा आपका कैपिटल, क्योंकि रेफ्रिजरेटर फॉर अ रेस्टोरेंट इज व्हाट? एन इन्वेस्टमेंट और अ कैपिटल गुड। अब वेरी क्विकली इसके स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो, क्योंकि ये है आपका होमवर्क क्वेश्चन। क्या है? मिल्क परचेज बाय द हाउसहोल्ड फॉर ड्रिंकिंग इज ऑप्शन 1 सेमी ड्यूरेबल, नॉन ड्यूरेबल, इंटरमीडिएट और कैपिटल। और 8th क्वेश्चन है आपका, which of the following is correctly matched? Clothes bought by household is a capital good, machine bought by a firm is a consumption good, coal used in a steel plant is an intermediate good, or bread bought by a household is a capital good. Very quickly send the answers for the last 2 questions, that is question number 7 or 8 in the comment section, so that it helps us to bring you the new video next time कि we are thorough with this one, so we can get you a new video in the next session. So next session में we are going to eventually start with the aggregates of the national income, so stay tuned for more videos. Thank you for watching.